To untangle Christopher Nolan's most complex movie to date, we have to look at the title itself, Tenet. By literal definition, a tenet is a core principle or belief. But in the context of this movie, it is a password. It is the name of a secret organization. And most importantly, it is a palindrome, a word that reads the exact same way forward as it does backward. But this isn't just a cool title, it is the blueprint for the entire movie. Time moving forward perfectly mirrors time moving backwards. As someone who has keenly watched every Nolan movie out there, I'm sure this Tenet breakdown will make the film much easier for you to understand. As we dive in, we can actually break this movie down in three parts: what is happening, when it's happening, and how it's happening. The how part is the fictional science, and honestly, scientific explanation isn't the movie's strongest suit. It runs on a very basic premise of entropy and then completely flies off into fiction. As the wise scientist said,
don't try to understand it, feel it.
However, what we can understand is the what and the when. And these two parts are what the actual story is made up of. So let's curve down the physics and untangle this timeline so you can actually appreciate what Nolan has cooked in this one. To understand the what, you only need to understand one mechanic: inversion. This is not a time machine where you step in and magically appear in 1955. If you want to go back exactly 1 week in time, you need to step into a machine called turnstile, and you literally have to live backwards for one entire week while the rest of the world moves forward. You are essentially rewinding a VHS tape while you're still inside the movie. That's it. That's the rule. Forward people experience time normally, inverted people experience time in reverse. Let's look at the timeline from the perspective of our main character, literally named the protagonist. His journey starts out completely linear. He goes to the Kiev Opera House, gets caught, takes a fake suicide pill, and wakes up to learn about a secret organization called Tenet. From here, he moves forward. He meets his handler, Neil. They meet Kat, the wife of our villain Andrei Sator. Sator's master plan is to find all 9 pieces of a doomsday device called the algorithm and bury it in an underground explosion so that the future generation will find it and use it to destroy the past. The logic here is that since we are exploiting all the natural resources without a care for our future generation, the future era is suffering from a climate collapse. So they want to take everything from us as we took everything from them. Sator's reasoning is simple. He's dying from a terminal cancer, and if he can't have a go at his life, no one can. The protagonist's forward journey peaks at the highway chase in Talon. This is where Sator actually gets his hand on the final piece of the algorithm. During the chase, an inverted Sator appears driving backwards, holding Kat hostage. He threatens to shoot her unless the protagonist tosses him the orange case holding the final piece. The protagonist throws the case but cleverly bounces the actual piece of the algorithm out of it and into a parked silver car. However, because Sator is moving backwards through time, he later checks the orange case and realizes that it's empty. So, he simply waits to intercept that silver car, flip it, and take the piece for himself. Sator wins, shoots Kat with an inverted bullet, and escapes into the past. Now, to save Kat from that inverted bullet wound, the protagonist and Neil have to take her through a turnstile. They are now inverted, moving backwards through time to give the unnatural wound a chance to heal. But since Sator controls a local turnstile, they are stuck moving into the past. So, they decide to use the turnstile at Oslo Freeport. While still moving into the past, they reach the exact day they crashed a 747 airplane into the Oslo Freeport, knowing that the crash will leave the facility's turnstile completely unguarded. This is where their past and future selves have a face-off. Now, this brings us to the climax. Everything revolves around a single day, the 14th. On this exact day in the timeline, 3 things are happening simultaneously. The past protagonist is doing the Opera House siege from the beginning of the movie, Sator and Kat are on the yacht in Vietnam, and the final battle at Stalsk-12 is taking place. While Kat is tasked with distracting Sator on the yacht, the military launches a temporal pincer movement at Stalsk-12. Imagine a 10-minute battle. The red team lands at minute 0 and fights moving forward. The blue team lands at minute 10 and fights moving backward. Before the battle even begins, the blue team briefs the red team on exactly where the enemy snipers and traps are. They are cheating time to win a war. The perfect visual representation of this is the building they blow up to create a distraction. The forward moving red team shoots a rocket at the bottom half. The backward moving blue team shoots a rocket at the top half. From our perspective, the building is simultaneously exploding and unexploding. Under the cover of this massive time-bending distraction, the protagonist and Ives slip underground to grab the algorithm right before Cetar's bomb goes off. Now let's talk about the final piece of the puzzle, Neil. At the bottom of the cave, the protagonist is trapped by a locked gate. A dead soldier with a red string on his backpack suddenly comes back to life, unlocks the gate, takes a bullet meant for the protagonist, and runs away backward. At the end of the battle, Neil walks away and we see the red string on his backpack. Here is Neil's sequence of events. Here in the future, an older protagonist recruits a younger Neil. Neil inverts and travels years into the past. He saves the protagonist at the opera house, meets him in Mumbai, and helps him through the whole movie. After the final battle, Neil realizes that he is the only one who has to pick the lock in the cave. This is where we see him leave the protagonist. Later, he steps into a turnstile again, goes back a few minutes into the past, runs down into the cave, unlocks the door, and sacrifices his life as a result. The massive plot twist is that the protagonist isn't just a guy hired by Tenet. He's the founder of Tenet in the future. He orchestrated the entire movie. He hid the pieces, he hired Neil, and he closed the whole loop. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Tenet. If you stop worrying about how inverted physics affect the wind resistance of a reversing ODE and just look at the timeline as a giant loop created by the main character to save the world, it is incredibly satisfying. This explanation video was requested by you guys, so thank you, and let me know which movie breakdown you want to see next. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.